Console, online. HPG connection, online. Educational module, online. All systems, nominal.
Hello, class, and welcome to On the Origin of Battlemechs Podcast, episode 91, The Battlemaster, Part A. I am your host, Brent Stewart. My co-hosts today are...
I'm Chandler.
And I'm Derek.
And today we are going to talk about the Battlemaster, a 85-ton monolith on the battlefield, a staple of any battalion or company, especially in the heavy or assault range. It's a thing.
Its head looks like a banana.
It's an absolute legend.
Mm-hmm. So, as is the case in the Inner Sphere, the reputation of the Battlemaster precedes the machine in this lecture series, most notably with Hollis Industries and it being the battlemech that saved their misstep with the Xanthos, and more recently its quick replacement of the Shootist after just a decade as a command machine for the Starleague Defense Force. So I can assume that most of you know what the Battlemaster is, at least in concept. But I ask you, class, to nonetheless pay attention, as this machine is a masterclass in design and reliability. The Battlemaster, as I said, helped save Hollis Industries from their financial hardship, first appearing in 2633 and conceived as a command machine for non-royal units of the SLDF, a fact that many credit its survivability and sidestepping extinction during the Succession Wars. It is, from the very beginning, a machine to be respected, with a level of armor and weapons that make it hard to ignore, but during the Star League it never given an opportunity to shine, as it was often outpaced by its higher-tech brothers. But when the Star League fell, and with it the tech level, the Battlemaster became a reliable, if time-consuming machine to produce. Hollis's factories were destroyed during the First Succession War, but the design was produced in smaller numbers across the Inner Sphere, with the majority of the machines being produced by the Lyran Commonwealth, the Free World League, and the Capellan Confederation until the events of the Fourth Succession War. The Davians, having only minor facilities, focused on keeping their machines operational and retrofitting them until they eventually started their own production lines. Since the invasion, the clans have increasingly started to use the Battlemaster as a second-line unit. The Jade Falcons now field their own design with the capture of Red Devil Industries on Pandora, and the Wolves with Earthworks factory on Keystone, and now the Seafox even have their own model, factory location unknown. But more than weapons and armor are what make the Battlemaster a Battlemaster. What sets it apart from its copycats is its cockpit. From day one, the cockpit was designed to be spacious and roomy, and to have a great field of vision from the canopy. This allows for extended deployment in comfort, or to have a hot seat installed with a command console, cementing the machine as a command mech through and through from beginning to today.
We do know where the Seafox plant is. It's on Twycross.
Oh, it's on
Yeah,
Twycross. Okay.
Yeah.
I must have missed that part of the
I'll get
It's all right. Back to the Battlemaster.
Yeah, you hear that, Davian? You guys didn't make none.
They did eventually.
They just
didn't have any factories at the outset. But the machine is so robust they were able to keep many of their 1Gs and retrofit them into 1Ds over the years before they could get their own facilities up and running.
Just you wait, Chandler. Just you wait till the pilot profiles. It gets better.
Does it, though?
Oh, it does.
I don't know if imperialism is better.
So the Battlemaster has the design quirks of a command mech and weak head armor 1.
Because it has a banana for a cockpit.
Well, it's just got the big old canopy. Like this is definitely a mech that looks like a fighter pilot.
It's a nanner.
The whole canopy just looks like it pops up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it totally looks like if you need to get into it, the whole thing like swings forward on like a little axis. Or, well, hinge.
Mm-hmm. A point of articulation.
Yes.
So our first model today is the BLR-1G, seen in 2633. And this model is the OG. It has a movement profile of 4.6. It's got a medium laser in the right torso and a medium laser in the left torso, both rear facing. It's got 2 in the right and 2 in the left torso front facing. So 6 medium lasers total, 2 facing backwards. An SRM-6 in the left torso, a PPC in the right arm, and 2 machine guns in the left arm. It's got 18 single heat sinks and no weight saving tech. It's got 2 tons of SRM-6 ammo, 1 ton of machine gun ammo, and both of those are in the left torso, no case. So it's pretty basic, it's pretty meat and potatoes, but when you look at that armor profile and you look at that weapons loadout, you're just like, yeah, this is respectable.
Yeah, I mean...
Needs an autocannon.
You say that about everything.
Because it's true.
Autocannons are for chumps.
Hey, whoa. That's
Whoa.
not what you were saying in the Marsden episode, sir.
Yeah, different time, different era, different place.
Different time, different vehicle.
Different piece of equipment.
One's a vehicle, one's a mech.
Pretty much. Overall, I mean, I think I've said it before. It's solid. It does what it needs to do. It's got its firepower, and yeah, I mean, not having case kind of sucks, but again, it's not being put out to the Royal Division, or the Royal Divisions, which get, the nice
Case.
toys. Yeah, they get the nice things.
All the shiny
Yeah.
stuff.
Because especially in this era, case is still
Relatively
fairly
uncommon.
limited.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's mainly for the higher end machines, which the Battlemaster really isn't meant to be. This is like your, mid-level, hey, you're a mainline battalion, mainline regiment. Here's your Battlemaster. Okay. Like it's not like the Royals with the frickin' Marauder where they just throw it everywhere. It's more along the lines of like, here you go. Company commanders, battalion commanders, regimental commanders. Here's your Battlemaster.
I mean, there's something to be said for an incredibly reliable piece of machinery.
I mean, it doesn't have to be stunning.
Like,
it just needs to get the job
it doesn't
done.
sound like we're heaping praise on this, but it's not because there's nothing to talk about. It's because it's like, what do you say of, this is a good start. This is the first model. I mean, how many models have we seen where the first one's like, so I get what they're going for, but it doesn't quite
where
work.
you're kind of
and
like,
then 4 models down, we're like, this is where it gets good. No, this starts good.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically a T-34.
It's solid.
It's not great. It's not good, but it gets the job done and it's solid. Like, it does what it needs to do. So you already have a great base to work off of, and it only gets better from here.
So the 1G has a battle value of 1519 and a point value of 40. We then come to the BLR-1G-DC, seen in the same year of 2633, and it has a movement profile of 4.6. It's got 2 medium lasers in the right torso, 2 medium lasers in the left torso, an SRM-6 in the left torso, a PPC in the right arm, and 2 machine guns in the left arm. It's got 17 single heat sinks. Yeah, the ammo is the same, everything is the same, except it adds a command console to that head, because that's what the DC stands for.
Command mech version.
DC for District of Columbia?
No. I suppose.
Designated
Yeah,
command?
designated command.
Well, it's supposed to be for dual cockpit, but we'll get into this later, but those may or may not exist anymore.
Yeah. I mean, same thing, just slightly different.
Yeah.
It's basically the command version of the 1J.
Yeah.
I mean, it removes the rear-mounted lasers, strips a heatsink, adds in the command console, but if you've got a command console, you should not be in a position where a locust can run behind you.
Yeah.
So you need those medium lasers. Like, you should be further back.
Or they're generally within like the battalion detachment, so you have like your command lance to secure you. So it's like you're mainly supervising the battle. You're not necessarily in the grind of it.
Thick of it?
Yeah.
So it losing those things is kind of like, okay, its purpose isn't to fight straight up. It's more just a command, but it still has a decent amount of firepower that, if somebody decides to try and duke it out with it, it's still gonna hurt you.
Headhunters beware.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, headhunters beware. Like, this thing sees you coming, you're not gonna have a good day.
Yeah. Or if you need to patch a hole in the line real quick with just whatever you got on hand,
Yeah,
Chuck yourself and your command lance in there.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Till you die.
Build morale with the troops, right?
Yeah.
Build morale until you lose morale.
Yeah. The command lance will be at the front lines until morale improves. So this guy's got a battle value of 1494 and a point value of 41. So a little drop in the BV and a little jump in the PV because different systems. We then come to the next model, the BLR-1GB, seen in 2760. And, it's the B version, which means it's got blinged out for the Royals because that's what it does. Keeps that movement profile of 4/6. It's got a large pulse laser in the center torso, 2 medium lasers in the right torso, 2 in the left torso, and each arm has a ERPPC. It's got 17 double heat sinks, and it has endo steel, and it's got just endo steel. Of course, no ammo, so no need for a case or anything like that. But this is neat. I like it. It's interesting. Probably gets a little toasty. Yeah. But it still seems pretty sweet.
I will say the thing I really like about this variant, not just the weapons changes, but the fact that it's still running a standard engine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's not like some of the Royals where it's, they're tough, they're hard to break through, but once you punch through the armor, like, they die fast.
Yeah.
This one, it's got staying power. I mean, it's an all energy loadout, so you never have to worry about ammunition. I mean, you got the double heat sinks. Yeah.
You got the center torso Iron Man pulse laser.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I feel like comparing this to a Black Knight is not untoward, because, similar profile, similar weapons layout. They both tend to have standard engines and be incredibly survivable. So,
Yeah, no, I agree.
So if you want to know how this thing is going to react on the battlefield, look at how a Black Knight handles.
Pretty much. I mean, plus you're dishing out 2 ERPPCs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It real strong.
Yeah, somebody gets close and it's like, oh, I don't just have 4 medium lasers. Large pulse laser. Large pulse laser says nope.
Mm-hmm.
For the Royal version, they made a pretty nice mech.
Mm-hmm. So this guy's got a battle value of 1825 and a point value of 44. So next up we come to the 1GBC, which is interesting.
It looks awfully familiar.
Yeah. So it's got that movement profile of 4/6. It's got a large pulse laser in the center torso, 2 medium lasers in the right torso, 2 medium in the left torso, an ERPPC in each arm, and 14 double heat sinks. So you're losing 3, but you keep that endo steel and
command console.
It gets that command console.
It's the command variant.
C for command.
There you go.
C for command.
See, normally it's a dash capital D capital C, and now it's a just lowercase c.
Because this was made by Star League, so they actually made sense.
Yeah, or tried to.
Whether they succeeded, well, that's
Mm-hmm. I mean, sometimes all you can really say is they made the effort. Right?
They tried.
It's a B for effort. Ha.
I thought it was a C for effort. So this guy was seen in 2736 and has a battle value of 1825 and a point value of 42. So losing a little bit on the point value, but holding strong with that point value. So we then come to the 1GC, seen in the same year, and this guy is a little different. It's got 2 medium lasers in the right torso, 1 in the right torso rear facing, and same in the left torso. It's got that SRM-6 in the left torso and a PPC in the right arm. It's got a command console in the head. It doesn't have any of the endo or any other weight savings, and no case. But it does have double heat sinks, which is a pretty solid upgrade for considering how hot a Battlemaster can get. That is a good upgrade.
So this is basically just the 1G DC just upgraded slightly. Essentially, all they did was just they were like, take out the singles, put in the doubles,
get rid of the machine guns.
Yeah, get rid of the machine guns, and back to the line units you go.
Pat them on the head.
Back to the line peasants. Well, they go stomp on the periphery.
Stomp, stomp.
Indeed. So this guy definitely takes a bit of a hit in the battle value. He bumps down to 1577 and a point value of 43. In 2867, we have the 1D. keeps that movement profile of 4/6. It's got 2 medium lasers in the right torso, 2 medium lasers in the left torso, and then it's got a PPC in the right arm and 2 machine guns in the left arm. It's got 24 heat sinks, so it drops the SRM, adds some heat sinks, quite a few heat sinks, and really just kind of makes it a dedicated laser boat, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
You get an extra ton of armor as well, which helps.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot to say on this. It's... House Davian just went and was like, huh, take that off, throw this in, Davian Battlemaster, and wiped their hands and walked away.
I mean, you don't want to mess with perfection too much, right?
Yeah, I mean...
I was kind of surprised Derek didn't start playing the Davian national anthem in the background.
Nah. There's better Davian.
He doesn't have his soundboard quite up and running.
We're not ready. We're not there yet. Plus, there's better Davian mechs to come.
Fair.
But yeah, I mean, overall, I really don't have a lot to say on it. It's honestly, it just follows in line with some of the SLDF versions, just some slight differences. But overall, pretty much keeps the the design philosophy of the original, just adding in double heat sinks and taking off some weapons, and so overall
adding some armor makes a very survivable mech more survivable. What is not to love about that?
I know I read for that one, the only real issue that they had with it was just the fact that you lost your rear coverage, so it tended to play against people, but that was the only real issue they had. But at the same time, they took off the SRMs mainly out of supply issues, because it just simplified logistics for the Battlemasters, because it's like, I don't have to throw SRMs on this thing. All right, sweet. I just need to get parts for it. I don't need to have a ton of ammunition sitting around. There you go.
And I imagine, like, they're machine guns, but these are Battlemech grade machine guns, so they're all 40 caliber.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, plus at that point, it's like, I don't really need these when I have other mechs that do the job. Like a fire starter that starts infantry on fire.
What? On fire?
Yep.
What do you mean?
Fire.
I mean, branding is good on that one, right?
It was correct.
So the 1D has a battle value of 1522 and a point value of 40. We then come to the 2C, seen in 2925, and it's got a movement profile of 4/6. It has a anti-missile system in the left arm. It's got an ER PPC in the right arm. It's got an SRM-6 in the left torso, as well as those 2 medium lasers. It's got 2 medium lasers in the right torso, and in the center torso, it has a Beagle active probe. It's got 17 single heat sinks, and no case, no weight savings, nothing like that. Still keeps a standard engine, so every one of these has had a standard engine. Such a survivable machine.
Did you mention the command console?
I did not mention the command console. Yes, this has a command console. Thank you.
But you want to know what that C stands for?
Command.
Yeah, there it is.
No, it doesn't. Praise, Blake.
What?
Yeah, this is the Comstar version. Look at the timeline.
Oh yeah.
It has Lost Tech on it at this point in time. Yeah, this is your Comstar Battlemaster that also happens to get shipped to the Draconis Combine by accident.
Well, not yet, but it's getting
not
there.
yet, but it gets there.
One day.
War of 39, and all of a sudden the Draconis Combine's rolling around with frickin', Beagle active probes, anti-missile systems, and ERPPCs.
Whoopsie.
Yeah, about 125 years, some of them made their way to the Draconis Combine by mistake. Some shipping crates got mislabeled.
Like, I remember reading that, and total side note right now, sorry, but how does that happen? You have a dropship loaded full of Battlemasters, and you're like, yep, it's going to this place, and next thing it shows up is on the DCMS's front doorstep, and they're like, hey, by the way, these Battlemasters are for you. Sweet. Like, what?
See, I totally believe 100%, like these were supposed to be the ones that we are going into the factory to have the tech pulled out. These are the ones that are going out, and someone just, air quotes here, swapped the shipping labels, so the ones that just arrived go back out immediately, and oops.
Well, apparently
there goes the expensive secret tech,
Well, apparently these were supposed to get shipped off to the Comguards.
Yeah, but Comguard versus Draconis Combine is a bit more of a stretch.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like somehow it just shows up on the DCMS's front doorstep, and I'm guessing the DCMS went and pushed these into the corner, and nobody saw nothing about anything.
I mean, I'd be more willing to believe that it wasn't an accident, that it was Waterly. That's the DC plant in Comstar,
Yeah,
right?
Waterly.
Yeah, Waterly slid something through,
You know
Yeah.
yeah. Huh, that's completely plausible. Anyway,
Digression
digression
aside.
aside.
So the 2C has a battle value of 1563 and a point value of 45. We then come to the first Lederhosen model, the BLR-1S. So House Steiner. Seen in 3025, it's got a movement profile of 4-6. It's got 2 medium lasers in the right torso, 2 medium lasers in the left torso, an LRM-5 in the left torso, as well as an SRM-2 in the left torso, and then 1 in the right arm, and then an LRM-15 in the left arm. So, turn it into a missile boat.
Whoosh.
Yeah. It's got 20 heat sinks. It's got a ton of ammo for the 5 in the left torso, a ton of ammo for the SRM-2s in the right torso, and a ton of ammo for the 15 in the left arm.
I'm not opposed, but not a fan.
You know, it'd be real fun is to switch those LRMs with MRMs.
This man right here, he
that would
gets
be
it.
interesting.
He knows, but they don't exist yet. So
Yeah.
we can't just be like, well, this would be better if it had that, because that doesn't exist.
I mean, who doesn't want an MRM 30?
I mean,
Because that's exactly what that would fit.
that's
The LRM 15 is a direct swap out for MRM 30.
don't talk about what I've done to several archers in Mech Warrior Online.
Don't give away the surprise.
Don't give away the surprises. Yeah, I mean, for what it is, it's a late Succession Wars mech. So obviously it's going to lack a lot of the nice fire control toys that make LRM so deadly later on. That it's kind of just, I don't know. I just feel weird about them turning this thing into an artillery mech. Where it's like you have the Archer Crusaders around. Like you have other things that I think do it better. But at the same time, I mean, I can see it. Maybe there was a gap that they needed to fill in, the Steiner military. The LCAF was looking for something to fill a gap, and hey, we're actually building these things, so
They lost their ability to make catapults or archers,
Probably catapult, but this kind of fits the role better of a close support one.
Yeah.
It fits a very similar role to the Steiner Archer that also has the SRMs.
That's true. It's more of
It's
a
just an
mid-range,
assault now.
midfield. Yeah, it's more of a midfield assault where it's not necessarily going to be in the action, but it can still sit just outside the main battlefield and fire missiles in and still trade blows pretty decently.
It feels like a command mech. I wouldn't be surprised if there are variants of this that drop something to put a command console in.
Yeah, maybe later. Because, I mean, at this point, you can't really even fix a command console if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But I will say this, the nice thing with this is, again, it is a late Succession War, so obviously it won't have the XL, but, even if you take a missile, even if ammunition blows up, like, you're still pretty... you still have plenty of weapon systems to go around, so...
I mean, the only ammo I would worry about cooking off is the SRM-2, because that's 100 points, which will basically take out the machine.
Yeah.
Whoopsie.
Okay. Whoops.
But, that LRM-5, it's only going to, pop a bunch of armor. The 15, that's getting closer there, but... Or actually, no, wait, I did my math wrong. 5... Yeah, no, this needs case. This needs case is what I'm saying.
I don't have that yet.
Yeah. Well, they lost it. They'll get it back soon.
One day.
Great Death Legion is just around the corner. The Helm Memory Core. It's on the
right
horizon.
there. Right around the corner.
So this guy's got a battle value of 1507 and a point value of 42. So next up we have the 3M, seen in 3049, and this guy has the movement profile of 4-6. It's got a machine gun in the left arm, a ER-PPC in the right arm, an SRM-6 in the left torso, a medium laser in the left torso rear facing, and 2 medium lasers in the left torso front facing. And It has the same lasers in the right torso, so 2 forward-facing medium lasers and 1 rear-facing. It's got 18 double heat sinks. It's got 2 tons of SRM ammo in the left torso, 1 ton of machine gun ammo, and yeah, it is the upgraded Lost Tech version of the 1G.
You know what it also has, Brent? What does it also have? It has case. It does have case.
Ooh, yes, very nice. Very nice. Yes, that is super helpful.
Us Merrick boys are smart, okay?
You just know that you're going to get blown up either from the front or the back, which is why you put in the rear-facing lasers, right?
Just don't ask about those stalker designs early on that didn't have case. Don't ask about those ones.
It's either, I'm going to be shooting the other great houses, or I'm going to be shooting my own great house.
Woo!
I mean, I will give you guys points for syncing this real well. 18 double heat sinks. This thing is cool running.
I'm surprised we had 1 ERPPC for this thing.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised on that one too, but hey, it works out.
I thought we had to share 5 for the whole nation.
I mean, it might also be because no, this is 3049, so this is before they start working on the what's it called?
The trade deals with the United Front against the Klan.
Yeah, to face off against the clans. My bad.
With the UF.
So I don't know where they're getting those ERPPCs.
I think we had solved the PPC problem early on, but it just took time for it to all spread out, and so stuff still got stuck with large lasers.
I mean, the Helm memory core was proliferated, but just because one of them showed up on Coventry or Stewart doesn't mean that they're able to retool overnight and make ERPPCs. It takes time to gear up and retool.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? It could have been through the, what is it, that, I forget the exact name of the alliance that was created. And I use the word loosely, alliance between...
Captain
Pact or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use the words alliance very, very loosely on that.
The Capellans in the Free Worlds League didn't take that one too seriously.
No, because somebody invaded somebody at the end of the Fourth Succession War. It's like, I see a free real estate deal against my ally.
Well, that was when the Andurians were like, we need to go attack the Capellans because we need to put a sick dog out of its misery. You think I'm joking?
I believe that's called a peacekeeping action when it's between your allies, right?
You think I'm joking? The Andurians literally rebelled to go put down Old Space Yeller. That is the Capellan Confederation with the Canopians.
I mean, can you blame them?
You silly Andurians and your antics.
And then Normano Liao was like, "Wait, no,
this is not okay."
In between bouts of insanity, of course.
Yeah. I'm not okay.
Hey, a broken clock is right twice a day, right?
Yeah, I guess.
So the 3Ms got a battle value of 1679 and a point value of 42. We then come to the last model of this episode, because we are going to split the Battlemaster into 3 episodes, because there's just so many lovely machines to talk about. The 3S was also seen in 3049. It's got a movement profile of 4/6. It has a LRM-20 in the right arm, an SRM-6 in the left torso, and 2 medium pulse lasers front-facing in the left torso, 1 rear-facing in the left torso, and then same laser profile in the right torso. So 2 in the front, 1 in the back. It's got 22 single heat sinks, and it has an XL engine. And then it has case in both the left torso and the right torso to help protect all that ammo, because it's got 2 tons of SRM-6 and 2 tons of LRM-20.
It's just a 1S, but slightly better, in air quotes.
It has an XL engine, which kind of makes me cringe.
I mean, if you're not intending for it to be on the front lines, I think the XL's okay.
Which is sad, because Alpha Strike calls it a brawler. And it's like,
Is it a brawler? Is it?
I mean, I do like the concept of the missile boat and all of that, but I don't know, I feel like
it isn't quite sure where it wants to be.
Like, instead of pulse lasers, getting ER medium lasers and some extra heat sinks or doubles would have been good.
Yeah, the weapons profile for it it makes it so weird. Because you have medium pulse lasers, which, on some of the previous variants, like maybe even the Merrick variant, would have been cool. Because then it's just like, this thing brawls. Like, that's what it does.
I mean, it also would have been cool because the Merrick variant is very well synced, unlike this one.
This one's kind of just like, let's throw new technology into a Battlemaster and call it a day.
We had the double chillers.
But, I mean, I can see what it's meant to do, but at the same time, I think it was more of like a proof of concept, I guess. Or
it was because we were so chill right now.
And at the same time, I mean, it's 3050, so maybe it was a rush production to deal with the clans.
Also possible.
So it's like, oh, they have all this advanced tech. We need to get something similar-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that might kind of be part of the, issue. Or not necessarily issue, but it might have been one of those fast turnaround designs.
Yeah. And for the most part, those 22 heatsinks do keep it cool. I mean, if you're firing the medium pulse lasers, you're not firing the LRM-20.
Yeah, so, I mean, that does work out. I don't know. I think I'm kind of with Brent with how with its weapons profile, it would make way more sense to have ER lasers.
The ERs.
Just because you're engaging at range.
What you gonna
I'm
do?
not the man designing this thing. I just work here, man.
I'm just critiquing it.
I'm just critiquing it.
I ain't no mech designer.
So this guy's got a battle value of 1441 and a point value of 40. Now, one thing that I don't know if this is apocryphal. I don't know if this is true, but this is something I heard when I played the MechWarrior Clicky Tech, and one of the individuals I was playing against had done the tabletop back in the day. And I don't know if it's a house rule, but apparently you can drop the PPC, and because it is in a gun in a hand, and that will drop your weight enough that you will get an increased movement because of like the engine and weight ratios and etc. So
that sounds to me like a house rule, but I don't know. I mean, listeners, please tell us. We don't know.
Yeah, I know that it has the detachable weapon rule, at least at some points. I've gotten the feeling that CGL is trying to move away from that as a whole, which makes sense because it doesn't really fit a lot of the concepts around battle mechs that have been developed since the early days.
So the Battlemaster and detachable weapons as a whole, I feel, are a holdover from the Robotech, import.
Yeah, the anime import.
Upload, what we'll call it. And it doesn't make sense to me to have a weapon that can be detached so that you can use your hand, short of like a sword or something, like a ballistic or ranged weapon, because you're not going to have the firing mechanism tied into the hand actuator pulling the trigger, because that's just another point of failure and like interface. Why not just run a wire through the arm or whatever, and then at that point it's not detachable anymore? And
yeah, there's a bunch of kind of things that happen with it where it just gets like, what? Because like then
why are we doing this again?
Then you get into like the power system for it. Is like where's the power for it? Like,
yeah,
because if it's an onboard battery on the PPC, then the PPC needs ammunition, because you only fire so many times before it kills the battery.
Chemical PPC, go.
Even then that's have ammunition. So
information is ammunition, I thought.
Information is ammunition.
But of course, we've already discussed the canopy having the fighter pilot banana
nanner,
what have you. Look,
so
it's a nanner.
It's a nanner.
Mm-hmm. But it's got like it's vaguely humanoid, except the head is kind of like integrated into the torso. It's got the big boxy launcher on the left torso. It's got the big rifle in the right arm. It's got really good definition of arms and legs. Like it is humanoid, but you're like, yeah, that's a Battlemaster.
If you wanted to paint up something as a Spartan from Halo, the Battlemaster is one of the go-tos.
Pretty much.
That I had not thought about that, but you're not
If I ever
wrong.
end up with an extra Battlemaster, Spartan 117 is entering BattleTech. Flashbacks to childhood.
But it just looks so good. It looks so sweet. It's a great design, and it's been around since the very beginning, because this machine features in Sword and Dagger.
Yeah.
In fact, yeah, like it is actually important to the plot if you read that book, and they resolve a issue quite cleverly, I thought.
Also, it's on the cover of Game of Armored Combat and Legends. A certain man's Battlemaster.
And the old Total Warfare cover.
That's true. But
that one's Comstar, because Comstar's cool.
In a certain color scheme of a certain brigade of guards.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about that soon.
And it's really surprising how little it's changed over the years. I mean, realistically, if you look at it.
Yeah, art-wise, it's generally stayed fairly similar, just mainly more of like a modernized art design. But otherwise, like there's no full, like some of the mechs we've seen like massive redesigns of the artwork.
Especially
with
for
the
like
Battlemaster.
Phoenix.
Yeah, but with the Battlemaster, it's largely stayed fairly similar, if not basically the same. Just, you know, the lines are cleaned up, or it's cleaned up a little bit, or how it looks has changed slightly. I think the biggest changes you see with the Battlemaster art-wise is, what's it called? MechWarrior Online.
Yeah.
But even then, it's, I mean...
It's still it's recognizable. It just changes the shoulder, the upper torso layout.
Yeah, it changes the upper torso layout and just kind of changes the cockpit into a more, like, angular cockpit rather than, like, the banana dome kind of thing.
It's not a nanner anymore.
No.
And the weapon's clearly not handheld at that point.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So we are going to move right along. If there's any other notes, we can absolutely bring them up in the next couple episodes about the art. Especially when we start talking about the Project Phoenix art, right? But we're going to move right along to the pilot profiles. And our first pilot today is Lieutenant Colonel Angela Franks, also known as the Black Pearl on the Silver Holotank. Angela was a famous actress who enlisted in the LCAF in the 29th century. Many thought it was a publicity stunt, but that thought faded away as her career in the LCAF progressed. She graduated from Sanglamore?
Yep, Sanglamore.
Right? Sanglamore? With high marks resulting in a posting with the Heavy Battalion Stealth Regiments, a unit she would command after some time in the field. During her active service, she would capture a Cretan Battlemaster and take it as her own machine. Angela would be immortalized as her final moments were captured on holocam at the Battle of Sakhalin in 2863 and broadcast to the entire Lyran Commonwealth. While making a final stand and having already dispatched many Cretan mech warriors, she fell from a cockpit hit, but in the moments that stretched into an eternity on the battlefield, her cockpit was breached and her machine started to fall, but unleashed one final volley. The volley would destroy the DCMS commander, gutting the Cretan offensive of its momentum and organization. Many speculate as to if the final shot were Angela or the system malfunctioning as the Battlemaster died. I believe that the shot was too true to be a simple malfunction. I believe Angela spent her final moments taking every foe she could with her to meet the Grim Reaper.
Dying a warrior's death.
That's a way to do it.
Sending as many Cretan samurai to hell.
There's too many of them. There's not enough of them.
All right. Next up, we have Force Commander Gerald Cameron Jones. Cameron Jones is, of course, of the Cameron Jones family of the Principality of Regulus, which means Free Worlds League. Go Free Worlds League. He is known...
And here I thought it was the Cameron Jones of Newport.
Nice.
You know, there might be a planet called Newport.
Probably. Maybe. Anyway.
He is known for piloting a Battlemaster 1G. However, he would help design the variant, which would eventually become the 6C, also known as, this doesn't look like a normal Battlemaster. Regardless of his mech, Cameron Jones was adept at the continuous small-scale raiding that marked the Third Secession War, namely against the Capellans, the Lyrans, and of course, Rebels, because Free Worlds League. He was, of course, eventually ennobled for his service, and there are rumors that he died in action against the Word of Blake in 3076. However, with how, chaotic that was, it's hard to verify because, nukes make things hard to verify.
Yeah, not a lot left records when, Irwin's dead.
It's hard to tell which mechs died when it's all vaporized by a nuke.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll talk about the Battlemaster 6C soon enough because it is...
It's neat.
Sadly, it's going to be in episode 3,
Yeah.
I believe.
That sounds about right.
You said
The 6C. Yeah, sorry.
You said 6.
Yeah,
6C?
that's at the end, probably. And yeah, it's part C, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, in 3081. All right, I've poured myself a drink. Why don't you take us away there, Derek, to talk about this little-known individual in the BattleTech continuity. I think they're a footnote, something... what was their name, right? First Prince Hans Davian?
Yes.
Hans.
The fox.
Hans Davian.
Hans Davian.
Hans.
Anyway.
How did I not realize that? No wonder he allied with the Lyrans. His name
Quiet,
is
Free
German.
Worlds League peasant. We talk about a man, a myth, a legend, an institution of Battletech.
Hey,
There are cults dedicated to him in this setting amongst the fan base.
I don't think they're actual cults, but there's a lot of people who love him.
And I am one of them.
I mean, if you look at his photo, he looks like William Shatner, so it makes sense.
I mean, it depends on which one you're looking at. I'm looking at the one in Legends right now, and man, is he handsome.
William
Anyway,
Shatner.
born 2983, the second son of the ruling house of the Federated Sons. Hans was never intended to sit upon the throne of the Federated Sons. His brother Ian had taken that, and unfortunately, in 3013 on Mallory's world, under the protection of the Calhounds, Ian Davian died gloriously in battle, laying waste to Kurita samurai. And it was from here that a legend, a myth, an institution would rise: the Fox. So, after that, basically what ended up happening is he took over. Then he started planning for what would become the Fourth Succession War. Over a full decade before it would even occur. During the Battle of Hellstead Station, from the cockpit of his Battlemaster 1G, known as Cadmus at the time, he led a raid that managed to secure a significant amount of Star League data that, House Kurita didn't realize they had. He took that, but in the process, he lost somebody most dear to him, his fiancée, who was with the Avalon Hussars, who was killed during the battle when her mech was shot out from under her, and a Kurita mech warrior stepped on her cockpit, killing her.
Oops.
From there, he would change the name of his Battlemaster to Dana, and go on to begin forging an alliance with a wedding on Terra.
It's a very unimportant
3029.
wedding. Nothing happened during this wedding.
Nothing happened during this wedding, other than he gave his dear beloved Melissa Steiner a wonderful wedding gift of the Capellan Confederation. And then began Operation Rat, which literally, as the wedding was progressing, this madman literally was invading the Capellan Confederation with Maximilian Lau not more than like 30 feet away from him. When you roll into a room, you know you're getting married, and the guy that you're basically about to frickin' take his nation away from, the bulk of his nation away from him, is sitting right there looking at you. Smug.
I mean, let's be real. There is certain scenarios where the Capellan Confederation folds as a whole. Like, if certain things had not happened and certain individuals had not galvanized the population, war exhaustion would have defeated them at the end.
Yeah, I mean, taking off, breaking off, and being like, yeah, we're no longer part of the Confederation. Oh, by the way, we're allied with House Davian now. And then same with, St. Ives, and you basically lose 2/3 of the Confederation in like less than a year. But anyway,
you give Hans a warship, he wins.
Pretty much. Anyway, upon that, his greatest adversary would rise in this, and it was not Takashi Kurita, rather Theodore Kurita. They would trade blows in the War of 39, which wouldn't exactly go too well for House Davian, or I should say the Federated Commonwealth. Afterwards, our glorious leader would let peace reign for a time, as his son Victor came of age. And then in 3050, the clans showed up, and Hans and Theodore made peace with one another as worthy adversaries, and focused their attentions towards that. It was also during this time that Hans realized that he could take his greatest prize. He could take Luthien. While Kurita was focused on not dying to the clans. But no, he was a superior man, a man of integrity, and he sent forth his glorious mercenaries to save the Draconis Combine. And it was there that the Kellhounds and Wolf's Dragoons saved Luthien from itself and from the clans. Because that's what I say, and that's how Davian believes. Praise Hans. Anyway, with that done, he dies in 3052 at the age of 69 from a heart attack. Yeah, thanks for that. House Liao kind of got its vengeance, I guess.
Out of everything you could do on Stavian, why didn't you go to the doctor more often? Come on.
You look at this man's life, and it's literally massively stressful situation followed by massively stressful situation, and probably God only knows how many energy drinks. So,
this man ran off a space monster. You heard it here first.
You did.
I mean, he was also eating, I'm sure, the richest of the
Triple F burger.
Triple F burger.
The only true food a Davian heir can...
The gold-plated Triple F burger.
The only thing a Davian heir could ever eat.
So, to talk about the Battlemaster a little bit more, as that's what we're talking about here, that Battlemaster, after his death, would become the centerpiece of a war memorial on New Avalon. During the Jihad, the word of Blake would hit the planet, and, well, the Davian guards needed mechs. So, yeah, they took Hans Davian's beloved Battlemaster, and it rendered vengeance upon the godless invaders, until it was destroyed during the Blakeists' climactic assault in 3073, when they temporarily secured New Avalon, and the mech basically ended up in a salvage warehouse because the Blakeists didn't realize what it was. They just thought it was a beat-up, battered Battlemaster that was just like, just another one. So when it was retaken after the word left in 3074, it was lovingly restored and returned to its place of honor until the godless Karita arrived in 3146, invading New Avalon. Reports indicate, sadly, that the filthy Karitan samurai arranged for it to be sent to Luthien as a prize. And this, my friends, is why Luthien must be destroyed. I'm good now. I'm all right.
The Blakeists were like, oh, it's another Battlemaster. We got these laying around like coffee paper.
Yeah, pretty much. And then, unfortunately, some Karitan shows up and's like, wait a minute, I know whose Battlemaster that
Wait
is.
just a gosh darn second.
Yeah, I'm shipping that home. I'm going to get a promotion.
I mean, the Karitans do have a long history of venerating the machines, because, there's the story of Kerensky's Orion getting passed down to Theodore.
Yes.
And then it getting blown up.
Oops.
I mean, it's not his fault it got blown up. He would have kept it if he could.
It got blown
Anyway.
up. It happens. It's a mech.
Yeah.
They're designed to get blown up.
Or
Yes.
blow up others.
It's part of the business profile.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, next up, we have Hans Davian's best friend, Takashi Kurita. Takashi Kurita was, of course, born in August of 2970 and was, of course, part of House Kurita. Who would have guessed? He would, of course, become the coordinator of the Draconis Combine in 3005. It's so weird to say. 3005, because you say 2005. Dates are weird to say, okay?
Mm-hmm. I mean, calling the century you are in the century ahead, that's the one that always gets me tripped up.
Takashi would be known for driving a Battlemaster for most of his career. However, he would switch to a Grand Dragon, a much more Karitan mech, after the rediscovery of Starleak technology, which makes sense. I mean, it looks very Karitan, comparatively speaking, kind of. Takashi would serve for the majority of the Third Secession War and into the clan invasion, dying in September of 3054. Takashi Kurita would, of course, see service on Mallory's world, where first Prince Ian Davian was killed in 3013, which kind of odd that they were both on the same planet at the same time, both serving. It's not something you usually see every day. Usually it's like, yes, the two heads of nations are like light years away from each other.
Yeah.
One notable event that happened to Takashi with his Battlemaster was an attempted assassination attempt, the 9th, actually, in 3024, when he was sparring in his Battlemaster. A microchip ended up popping out of the machine, and it started a self-destruct sequence, and also locked him into the mech, and he also could not control it. And essentially assumed he was an intruder, and gave him 5 minutes to vacate, or else his mech would self-destruct. But of course, if the door's locked, you cannot leave. Leave or I self-destruct. Cannot leave. What do? Takashi's what do is rip out every single processing board until it stops working, which is exactly what he did, and he lived. So good on you, Takashi. Takashi's Battlemaster would outlive him, and eventually his, great, I think it's great,
descendant of
his
some
great-great-granddaughter, Yori Kurita, would take his Battlemaster as a personal battlemech as to reiterate her connection to the ruling family, as she is a little weak politically right now.
Somewhat weak politically.
But on the upswing.
House Kurita is definitely going through a shogunate era kind of style, so she's doing what she can. And we'll talk a lot more about Takashi during the House Kurita histories, because he plays a lot of relatively important roles, between forming a brief alliance with the Federated Commonwealth during the clan invasion to trying to bind together the Free Worlds League, Capellan Confederation, and Draconis Combine to try to, power block the Federated Commonwealth, to just being Takashi Kurita, Mr. by the book, very tradition, which of course gets him
Death
in
to
trouble
all
with the sun.
mercenaries.
Yeah, death to all mercenaries, which is its own mess.
Traditional to a fault is how I would put it.
Yeah.
That's a way to put it.
Yeah, that's fairly accurate.
All right. Well, that's enough about Takashi Kurita.
So next up, we have Colonel Kathleen Dumont, and she was the commander of the Wolf Dragoons Delta Regiment from 3020 to 3054, when she finally permanently retired, like, as in didn't die, like actually retired, retired champion because you lived in the Battletech universe, sunglasses descend from the heaven to cover eyes, deal with it. She commanded her unit along the Davian-Cretan border during the Fourth Succession War. During this time, her Battlemaster was shot out from under her on the planet of Crossing. During the War of 3039, she would lead her rebuilt unit to Murchison, where she sustained major injuries that removed her from active service for 5 years. Naturally, she was put back into service just in time for the clan invasion, and she would rack up many kills on Luthien and elsewhere before, as I said, retiring in 3054.
Awesome. All right, Captain Helmar Vilasek. So basically I'm not even going to call him a fine gentleman. This absolute waste of space from my glorious AAFC, or AAFS. In 3003, decided to go AWOL along with some like-minded losers and commandeer a dropship. And he went and decided to become a pirate. And needless to say, he grew in fame, cruelties, and weight. Strange combination, interestingly enough. So he eventually became the pirate king of Sanderton's world, his personal mech being a Battlemaster 2C, lacking any of the advanced equipment, of course. Was famed for its dual cockpit, converted into a single-seater, able to accommodate his considerable bulk, ample foodstuffs, and a favorite prostitute or three. Vilasek's beloved machine met its end against the Smoke Jaguars when they showed up in 3049, and took issue to filthy pirate scum. After that, Mr. Vilasek escaped, and nobody knows what happened to him. That's kind of that, man.
Legend says he still pilots a lowrider.
Lowrider, or like one of those mobility scooters?
Probably a mobility scooter, yeah.
Well, that is it for our pilot profiles this week. Next up, we have our data dive, and for that, I am going to toss on over to Chandler, who is going to talk about command mechs.
Hello. Welcome back to Data Dives with Chandler Eller. All right, so this week we are talking about command mechs, which very fitting, seeing as the Battlemaster has a lot of command mech variants, like a lot.
Almost like you planned it that way.
Yeah, fancy that. So essentially, there are 5 main kinds of command mechs. 4 if you want to get really finicky, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So first off, you have mechs with the quirk command mech. Who would have thought? This quirk is something that is, of course, only in use when you're using quirks. So this is more of an advanced rule. Highly recommend using quirks if you don't. They definitely bring out the flavor of mechs in general. To use the Battlemaster as an example, I mean, that cockpit don't look too armored, hence why it has weak armor. Examples of mechs with this would be the Archer, the Wolverine, Highlander, and of course the Battlemaster. And the effect of the
Cyclops.
command mech, not quite actually.
Really?
Yeah, they changed it.
Apologies.
And the effect of the quirk is to give a +1 to your team initiative, or just your initiative if you're not playing with a team. So helps you get that leg up and represents the fact that you are commanding. Who would have thought? Next up, we have mechs with the battle computer quirk. It is essentially the same as the command mech quirk. However, instead of a +1, it has a +2 to initiative. The most notable example of this is, of course, the Cyclops, with its really fancy Tacticom 9000? Is it?
I think it's 2000.
Tacticom something or other that's extremely hard to replace.
Mm-hmm.
But
to be fair, we haven't actually covered that machine yet. We would know if we had. We're sure. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yay, confidence. All right. Next up after that. So first 2 of these we had were quirks. So advanced rules, not something you'd see on the day-to-day. And next up we have mechs with C3 master units. These are, of course, the units that you would use to operate a C3 Lance and are a required unit, as without a C3 master, you do not have a C3 network, as you have to link all the slave units to the master unit. One C3 master can, of course, link 3 mechs to it, giving you a Lance. And these units are seen as command units because, of course, they control other mechs' targeting functions and link them all together. Now, notable units with this are some versions of the Cyclops, The Laohu has a version. There's a number of different mechs that have variants with C3 masters or C3 slaves. I believe the Battlemaster even has one with the C3 master, which makes sense because it is a command mech. Definitely a little bit less involved as the quirks. And I don't believe we've covered C3 to a great extent yet, but one day we will get to that data dive and it will be glorious.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have mechs with command consoles, which sound really familiar because we just talked about like 4 mechs with command consoles replace the standard mech cockpit, and they add a second mech warrior to the cockpit. The effect, of course, is that you get a +2 to your initiative rolls. However, there is a bunch of asterisks attached to this. First off, the second pilot must not be operating the mech in any form, so he can't be shooting, walking, running, none of it. He has to be completely focused on his little screen. Secondly, the unit must be heavy or assault weight class, so no sticking one of these in a light and having it sprint around. Needs to be a bit heavy and plodding. And then third, if the second pilot has to do anything other than avoid damage from falling, so like rolling a PSR when the mech falls over, you do not get your initiative bonus in the next turn. So just don't do anything to that other pilot. However, as another bonus, if your regular pilot does get knocked out, you can have the other pilot take over. So even if you're not using it for the initiative bonus, it is still a useful thing just to have another pilot around. However, the command console does take weight, which is most notably shown with the dual cockpit, which is kind of the same thing? ? It is uncertain, is the way I'll put it, that the dual cockpit is still a thing. There's been some mentions that it has essentially been rolled in with the command console by CGL, and seeing as we have not seen any mechs with dual cockpits as of late, I'm going to go with the assumption that the command console has essentially supplanted it in the rule set. It's especially notable that the dual cockpit is not in Tech Manual, TAC Ops, or any of the other supplemental rule books. So,
I mean, that is a good indicator.
Yeah. If it's not showing up in any of those, it probably isn't a thing anymore. But to give the weights costs for the command console, it weighs 4 tons, which is 1 more ton than a regular cockpit. And it takes 2 slots instead of 1, which is 1 more slot than a regular cockpit. So you don't get that extra slot in the head anymore. Notable mechs with command consoles are, of course, the Battlemaster, but you also get mechs such as the Cyclops. So you get the Battlemaster, the Cyclops, and it really depends on what nation is installing them. The Draconis Combine likes to use Grand Dragons, Warhammers. Lyrans like to use the Zeus and the Atlas. The Free Worlds League tends to use Orions and Marauders, and the Capellan Confederation tends to use the Cyclops and the Warhammer.
But Chandler, what about House Davian?
Davian uses Battlemaster. That's what they do.
Ah, yes.
Although I'm sure they use other, assault mechs they have laying around.
Probably Cyclopses.
Yeah.
I mean, the Cyclops is an underappreciated machine. It's very good.
I love the Cyclops.
The Cyclops is so jury-rigged into the role of command mech that it's almost always a command mech. You never see a Cyclops in a book that isn't a command mech.
That's true. I mean, basically any story that you read of the fiction, it's usually like a company command mech, battalion command mech, or something like that.
Yeah. You never see someone just in a Cyclops. Most of these are pretty standard refits. So like the Battlemaster for the Federated Suns, they tend to either remove a heatsink or a medium laser to give you the extra tonnage. The Draconis Combine tends to remove lasers. Lyrans tend to remove either heatsink, ammunition, or a laser, and so on and so forth. Really just depends on what they are altering to get that extra tonnage they need. But yeah, so who knows whether the dual cockpit's actually still a thing anymore. It is noted that the clans do not use dual cockpits or command consoles really at all, which fits very well into their warrior mentality of this warrior needs to be both a commander and a warrior, so you can't have them sitting in the back of a command cockpit while, someone else does the warrioring for them.
As one does.
That would have been hilarious, though, for for Hour of the Wolf if Alaric was actually in a command console the entire time.
That would be pretty good.
Be like, yeah, I totally won Terra. I just wasn't fighting. Shush. Don't ask. Supposedly, the dual cockpit also adds 10 to the pilot skill roll proc for damage to 30, but seeing as the dual cockpit really isn't a thing anymore, I doubt that the command console does anything like that. It's not mentioned in the command console rules, so I would just assume that the dual cockpit doesn't exist anymore. I believe I'm reiterating myself at this point, but good for the class. Class, remember, dual cockpit, no good no more. Command console's the way of the future.
Yay?
Yay, question mark?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's supported. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Just don't ask the Clint whether it's supported.
Oh.
No. Oh, indeed.
Yeah. I mean, the Clint, let's be real, the Clint has kind of been outpaced in many avenues technology-wise. It's a lovely little machine. It's got a lot of gumption, we'll say, but
It tries.
there's not a lot of places for it in 3150.
Or the Cicada. The Cicada hasn't gotten a new model in forever. Variant, not a model.
Yeah, but it's also been showing up in freaking every video game.
No, but we're getting off topic because neither of those have dual cockpits.
We are.
Ha I tricked you.
Ah.
You thought I was still talking about dual cockpits. I was not. And then there is one final kind of command mech, and those are fluff command mechs. These are ones that are just known as command mechs in the universe, even though they don't have any bonuses. These usually overlap with the quirked mechs, so stuff like the Archer Cyclops. However, other mechs like the Shadowhawk are known as command mechs for smaller units. So like reconnaissance units in the case of the Shadowhawk.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the Atlas also counts as one.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have any perks or anything. It's just
Yeah,
boom,
a lot of
Atlas.
commanders are in Atlases.
Yeah, I thought the Atlas had the
have-
command unit quirk. Yeah, command mech.
Oh, it does? Okay.
Yeah. It also has distracting,
does? Oh,
improved communications, and battle fists.
Hams.
I mean, the distracting is obviously because of the Death's Head.
Yeah, maybe. Totally not because of the death set. Oh. But usually they'll be known for good communication gear, whether that pops up as a quirk, like with the Atlas with the improved communications, or just as a general just note in the fluff. Or they'll carry ECM, because what better way to make sure you can still contact everyone if you can cut through enemy ECM with ECCM? Or they'll have Beagle active probes. It just generic, insert electronic
High-end
stuff
tech.
here.
Insert electronic warfare tech here.
Yeah.
Or counter electronic warfare tech.
And they tend to also not be brawlers. So, you're not going to see people using a Hunchback as a command mech unless they're crazy, which I'm pretty sure there's someone who is in command of a Lance and a Hunchback in the Warrior trilogy, and he's a mad lad, and I approve.
I think so.
Yeah. Granted, he's militia command, so it's probably the heaviest mech they had.
That would make sense.
But yeah, that is our data dive on command mechs. Very exciting. Very commanding. Get one now from Clan Seafox. Which you can, because they have the 3C.
So our sources for today are Sarna, Battletech Battlemech Manual, Master Unit List, TRO and Record Sheets Succession War, TRO and Record Sheets Clan Invasion, TRO and Record Sheets 3039 Unabridged, TRO and Record Sheets 3075, TRO and Record Sheets 3085 Project Phoenix, Wolf and Blake Starter Book, Turning Point Falcon Incursion, and Recognition Guide Volume 3.
I used the Mech Warrior Companion, which I don't even know if you can get that anymore, and the Tech Manual, TAC Ops, and the Battle Mech Manual, which if you do not own the Battle Mech Manual, I highly recommend.
It is a good cornerstone book to get into Battletech with.
Oh, yeah.
Some people say Total Warfare. Don't get Total Warfare. Get Battle Mech Manual. It's just better, all across the board.
Indeed.
Yeah, Battlemech Manual is so if the starter books like Wolf and Blake or Sword and Dragon are sticking your feet into the pool while hanging onto the railing. Battlemech Manual is walking down the steps and you've got your head above the water line but you can touch the ground.
Yeah.
TAC Ops is jumping into the deep end.
Yeah.
God help you at that point.
Yeah, Battle Mech Manuals, you're hanging out by that line in between the deep end of the pool and the shallow end. You can swim into the deep end if you want, but you can quickly get back to the shallows when you're not sure. And the TAC Ops is when your dad throws you into the middle of the lake because you need to learn how to swim.
The only source I really used for today was Battletech Legends, an awesome compendium, I guess, of the different major characters of the different eras, and kind of a nice spread across Battletech of the personalities, I suppose, I'd say. I use that for the Honstavian portion, just because, honestly, it very nicely summarizes a lot of things that are spread out across a vast number of sources in about 2 pages.
Yeah.
So it makes it very easy to kind of work from there, rather than trying to hunt down 6 different source books and read through them. So
yeah. I
highly
should have
recommend
used
it.
that,
Yep.
but I didn't because I forgot it existed.
Yeah, it's literally the next page. I was reading the Takashi portion as you were talking it. I was like, it's right here.
I forgot.
Okay. It's okay.
I am bad host. I forget.
It's all right. We still love you.
Yeah.
You're all good. You're all good. This podcast is made possible by our supporters on patreon.com/on the Origin of Battlemechs, link in the description. Our social media on Twitter is at Origin of Mechs. We also have a community Discord, the Armory of Ouroboros, link in the description. You can email us at ontheoriginofbattlemechs@gmail.com. If you enjoy the show, please leave a review on your platform of consumption, tell your friends about us, and share on your community platform of choice. Special thanks to my friend Laura for the intro and outro. Our Ace Pilot Patreons are John Keith III, Metal Ed, and Stahlkater. Class dismissed. Everybody have a great day.
Stay safe out there.
In Julian we trust.
Do you, though? I thought you trusted Hans, Mr. Cult following
both.
for Hans.
I trust both.
Hans.
Anyway.
I know it's supposed to be Hans, but now I'm going to say Hans all the time now. Thanks.
Oh, Hans, come over to her Steiner, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he does marry a Steiner, I mean, so it kind of works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Module complete. System standby. Would you like to load the next module?
So then we come to our first house model in Buddy, I love you, but you are whining so much today. What is up?